Hello there, and welcome. Today I want to tell you an anomaly that's going to involve just a wee bit of bad language, but I hope you'll understand just one word of bad language. I told you that my neighbors were troubled, and this story, this anomaly came to my mind after listening to them have a fuss. So this actually happened several years ago, and I thought you might find it interesting. So I'm a little old lady, and I like to putter out in the yard of my house. One evening I was puttering in the yard of my house, and a car stopped at the corner where there's a stop sign. And when it stopped, a young woman leapt out of the car, and she was yelling at the young man driving the car. It was a warm day. He started yelling at her to get back in the car, and he was using very bad language. So, in typical nosy neighbor fashion, I stepped down to the sidewalk and watched them on the sidewalk. And the young man turned around and saw me watching him. And he said, "Get back in your house, bitch!" And I said, "Are you talking to me?" Now, I wasn't trying to imitate, DeNiro and Taxi Driver. I just was like, really? Me. That was aimed at me. But a strange thing happened then. After I asked him that question, he didn't say anything further, and he drove off. Okay, fine. So I went back up onto my porch and was sitting there enjoying the evening, and the car drove up again, and the young man got out and came up to me as I sat on the porch. And he said, "Miss Mack, I need to apologize for the way I spoke to you." It wasn't until he heard my voice that he recognized I was his high school English teacher. And he was enough older and more experienced than when I had known him that I didn't recognize him either. But he came back and apologized. I don't really remember exactly what I said to him, but I think it was something along the lines of, "Well, I appreciate the apology, and I know you know that isn't the best way to talk to another person." You know, it's easy for us to become isolated in our little houses because we have air conditioning and heating, central heating, and we have, this inclination to privacy because our current world seems so chaotic and so cruel. But I'm really actually glad that I first of all got the chance to kind of put a damper on the fight he was having with his girlfriend, but also that I got the chance to hear an apology from a young person who understood that what he had done was really not right. It wasn't civil, it wasn't kind, and it didn't become him. And I think those of us who know how to be civil and kind should spend as much time as we can in a situation where we're encouraging others to be civil and kind. That was a dicey little set of behaviors that I got to witness and I got drawn into. And I sort of put myself in. And I have other stories like it, though none quite as beautifully dramatic as that one. But we as a people need to keep reminding each other that Jesus' first and most important rules were about loving God and loving others. And we really need to express our love for others with a concern for even those that aren't being their best selves when we catch them doing that. You can love on somebody even when they're not being particularly lovable. And when he came back and apologized to me, he was being very lovable. So in the end, for me at least, it worked out. That's it for today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And I hope you see me again. You gorgeous people.